better leader, whether that's in business, in sports, or in life, and you haven't found a book yet to help you get to that game-changing aha moment, well, we have the book for you. Tighten the Lug Nuts, the principles of balanced leadership. Tighten the Lug Nuts will help you get to that game-changing leadership moment. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and iBooks, or at 360managementservices.com. That's the number 360managementservices.com. Pick up your copy today and start changing your leadership styles.
Now it's time for the show.
Do this look like work to you? Nah. Looking at the lights like it's all of this for me. Everyone tonight is here. All of this for me. Hands in the air, yeah. All of this for me. Bottles over here. All of this for me. All of this for me. All of this for me. Light fast, light flash. All of this for me. All of this for me. All of this for me. Bottles bringing bottles here. All of this for me.
Hello, and welcome into another edition of the Rome Show. I am Andrew Romanella. That is Rocky Romanella. It is April 20th, 2020. Yes, it is 420 on 420. So happy holidays to all of you out there celebrating. We here at the Rome Show are going to take you all the way up until the 8 o'clock hour on HamiltonRadio.net, Channel 2, Facebook.com/Andrew.Romanella, or on the Twitter and Gram at Coach Romo24. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, all you Romo Sapiens out there tuning into this fantastic show today can also call in and get on live, 609-807-2492. We got an exciting show lined up for the Romo Sapiens today. The first show coming out of the Rome Show Bandits bracket. And for what we're trying to do is to get back into a little bit of normal sports here. And coming up this weekend, we got the NFL draft.
Very exciting. The real NFL draft.
The real NFL draft.
That is going to play like a fantasy draft.
Yes. It's going to be all virtual. We're going to break that down for you today, as well as dive into some free agents still available in the NFL and how those dominoes might fall, and a little bit of other sports topics that we want to get into today on the Rome Show. How we feeling?
I'm feeling good. I can only just in my head, I'm just how drunk would I get if there was a 15-minute clock on every fantasy draft that I was ever in?
That would be insane.
It'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I think 30 seconds is
It's too long.
So.
Yeah. I hate the drafts that are 90. That's the worst.
I just don't understand. If you're in a 10-person fantasy draft and everyone's a minute and a half, you've got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Know who you're going to pick.
Yeah, you already know. Yeah, you have to know who you're going to pick. Before we get into any of that football, though, okay, we start today's show off with Straight Off the Rome, like we start every other show. We're going to give baseball a little play here because two stories coming out of Major League Baseball really fired me up today as I was getting ready for the show. So Straight Off the Rome today comes out of Miami, Florida. All right, and I got my Miami Dolphins hat on to talk about our NFL 2020 draft. So Derek Jeter, obviously, as everyone knows him, the Hall of Famer, Derek Jeter, the CEO of the Miami Marlins, decided to forego his $5 million salary this season, and he's going to be using that money not for him, but for the baseball ops staff and other people in the Miami Marlins organization to help make sure that they can get their salaries paid through at least the end of May. So, A, I thought that was super awesome out of Derek Jeter, but B,
class act.
The Los Angeles Angels committed $1.2 million for all stadium employees so they could continue to pay their salaries with which they would be making if the normal MLB season was going on. So two awesome stories out of Major League Baseball that I think, A, a lot of people need to know about, but B, should probably be a skeleton to maybe what we see from other sports franchises doing.
Yeah, I mean, you saw a lot of it with the NBA with the guys giving the staff from the arenas their money and all that stuff. But baseball is now really in it as the kind of most affected sport because it's the only sport, it's the sport that should be all in all 32 teams. So it's nice to see. Listen, it's nice to see when Derek Jeter's taking the lead.
Exactly.
That's the man.
And I want people to remember, too, because people have given Derek Jeter a lot of heat in his time as the CEO of the Miami Marlins.
I don't know why.
So it's nice to see a positive story about him since he's become the owner.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, I don't get off topic here, but because it's on topic. I mean, listen. The guy is the CEO of the New York Yankees farm team.
Which
He's
I
on
mean,
his
in
way.
a way,
He's on his way to coming to the pros, so he'll run the Yankees one day. But he's got to start. He's got to start small.
So
and
they put him with the Miami Marlins.
Yeah, he's got to start with the babies.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, it's just nice to hear, and I think that for a quick second, when we're going through all this stuff, and people are worried about their jobs, and some people have already lost their jobs, some might lose their jobs in the near future, to see somebody that doesn't need that money putting that money towards people that need that money in this time, I think is huge. Because I'm sure there's a lot of scenarios where the person doesn't make that decision. And when it's somebody that has a name like Derek Jeter, I think that's a ripple down effect, almost like a pay it forward on steroids.
Yeah.
Like if that guy's going to pay it forward, everyone else that has the means to try and pay it forward, maybe not to the extent of $5 million like Derek Jeter, should probably come forward and maybe try and do something like that.
Hey man, he's saving the world $1 million at a time.
I guess so. Anyways, that is your Straight Off the Rome for today, April 20th. So, baseball, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get any baseball this year, but
I was talking about it with a buddy of mine, and a 60 to 80 game sprint to like a World Series would be like really exciting.
It
Like
would
August
be.
1st.
It would be. I don't know if you can play 60 games in 2 months. That's a game
Let's
every
call
day.
it July. Let's call it July. If you could play 60 games, or you could start July 1st and
If
play
you could
60
start,
games.
I would sign up for 60 games July 1st. Do you condense the playoffs?
No,
I think you have to.
you let it go.
But I think you have to.
Like condense it, make it smaller.
I don't know if you condense it and make it smaller.
No,
but-
make it bigger.
well, then you would.
Just a one-time thing.
But how would that make any sense?
What do you mean?
Like, how would that make any sense? If you're gonna have a short
I'd make the
season-
wild card playing game, like make it a best of 3.
So then you're taking away game dates in the season that you could play, therefore making the regular season harder.
What date makes 60 games like is July 1st when the actual 60 game remaining spot is on a typical 162 game season?
No, not at all.
How many games are left
I don't
on
think
July
so.
1st?
I think on July 1st, you're probably 70-something games away.
All right, so if you play 60, you've put in more time for playoffs.
So you're saying play 60 games, expand the playoffs, get more teams in, or play 60 games, expand the playoffs, make the first round a round of 3, make the second round a round of 7 instead of a round of 5, and then keep the rest of the round 7.
Yeah.
The second.
Yeah.
Why?
No, the first of the second. Like where you expanding the playoffs is what I think is the secret sauce.
Why?
Because I think that even though the teams are going to lose the revenue on the regular season games anyway,
Right.
but an all-out sprint and an expansion of playoffs like drives the viewers back to what the main event is and like forwards you into the off season. I think like you literally want to run into the off season like. I can't believe how amazing baseball ended this year.
I can see it.
And it started like so crappy. But like
I can see it. The only problem is once you have the 3-game wild card, it's going to be hard next year to go back to the 1-game wild card. You might keep it.
I might be onto something.
I think it should already be a 3-game wild card. I think a good move for Major League Baseball as they're making all these rule changes would be make it a 3-game wild card.
Weren't they going to expand the rules this year anyway?
Yeah, well, the rules changed this year.
They didn't
The
do that.
playoffs weren't changing this
Yeah,
year.
because they weren't going to pick the team.
No, I don't think that was going to happen. I don't think that's actually going to happen either. I think that was a cover-up for what was going on with the Houston Astros.
I think there's just a cool way that if you – I really think it's not – the regular season's going to draw your crowds because people miss sports.
Right.
If you can capture the same audience you would have and then some – based on the circumstances, because you've made your playoff feature a little bit more a little bit different, a little bit more exciting. At least even as a player, you're like, listen, it's different because it's a shortened season. It's not different because they're making changes. I can buy into that.
Yes. And the ability to have in theory, a greater opportunity to win the World Series.
Yes.
Because if you make it into the playoffs, you know you have a longer series to find a way to win in advance.
Dude, even if you threw this would never pass, but even if you expanded, you gave everyone you gave your top 6 teams, regular teams in a 1-week bye and let seeds 12 through 20 play a double elimination tournament like you would at the College World Series.
So you essentially just want to use this shortened year to mess around with things that could benefit the game moving forward.
Yeah. I think you get more buy-in from players on that than
going to Arizona and playing the whole season.
Exactly.
I agree. I would agree with that because I've heard both sides of the fence on the Arizona thing. Not that I want to get into that because I don't think it's even a realistic possibility.
I read an article the other day biodome theory for baseball.
Yeah, right, in Arizona. I know. All right, well, that's your straight off the Rome for today. The baseball is an interesting topic because I think of all the sports, it's the one sport that's scarily staring in the face and not playing the entire season, which is crazy to think because baseball is a sport where a lot of people talk about how it is too long of a season. All right, let's get into Draft Central here. Okay, as we go through Draft Central, ladies and gentlemen, okay, you can call us in 609-807-2492. We have some Instagram polls that are live right now. They've been live all day that you can chime into as well, which we're going to get to later on in the show. But this 2020 draft is shaping up to be an interesting one.
Very exciting.
Very exciting draft. There's a lot of quarterback talent in play here, which is super exciting.
There's a lot and there isn't, though.
But I agree. And so I have up on our TV in the studio here the draft order. So before we dive into this, I want to give the first few picks in 2020 NFL draft for the people listening that might not know them right now, because it's a significant, the way I see it, top 6 picks. Okay, so you have the Cincinnati Bengals with the first pick, the Washington Redskins with the second pick, the Detroit Lions with the third pick, New York Giants with the fourth pick, T-Man, Miami Dolphins with the fifth pick, and then the Los Angeles Chargers with the 6th pick. Okay, why so significant? Because the Chargers, the Dolphins, the Cincinnati Bengals, and in a lot of cases, people could argue the Detroit Lions and even the Washington Redskins, based on how you feel about Dwayne Haskins, are all people that are viable to draft a quarterback. Okay, so the immediate discussion becomes Joe Burrows, Ohio kid. We discussed this a few weeks ago. Number 1 overall to Cincinnati. Everything stacks up for that to be a decision that makes so much sense.
Yes.
But yet there's still so many questions about what could happen. Part of those questions are my Miami Dolphins having the most draft picks in the NFL overall. Mm-hmm. The most draft picks in the first round with 3.
Yeah.
And a lot of capital to potentially move up. Maybe it's not Cincy, but maybe it's another team in the first 5 picks. So we're going to start there.
Okay.
We're just going to look at the first 6 picks on the board and see how we feel they transgress, starting with Joe Burrow in Cincinnati.
I just don't know how the Cincinnati Bengals pick someone other than a quarterback, first and foremost.
Right.
So
But Andy Dalton has 1 more year left on his deal.
Which is why all the more reason they should draft a quarterback.
Right, okay.
I don't think that there's any better scenario in the NFL than a quarterback coming under center week 6 when the guy who's it's time to leave is done.
And you know that team's not going to win this year.
That's right. The way Daniel Jones came in, the way Eli came in.
Weird. He references the New York Giants history.
I had to do it.
Maybe Aaron Rodgers.
Honestly, the real guy that you want to look to is even think about Tom Brady. That was Drew Bledsoe's team.
Yeah, right.
That year, it was purely Drew Bledsoe.
Then he got hurt, and Tom Brady took over.
Right, and I would argue that if Brett Favre wasn't built like a robot, Aaron Rodgers probably would have got in 2 years earlier.
True, fair enough.
Right, but there's so many good examples of people waiting, and so many bad examples of people not waiting.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I would argue even Baker played better when he stepped in than when he started last year.
Agreed.
Because he didn't start right off the gate.
Right after Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah,
100%.
right?
Yes, 100%.
I would argue he played better.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. Now, I'm not saying that the sophomore year, I think, is a tough example, though, because it's a full year for opposing teams to game plan you. The step in of the rookie that compared to the start day 1 of the rookie, I think, is a harder comparison to make.
Yes.
Like a Sam Darnold compared to a Daniel Jones. If you want to make the New York comparison. Darnold started day one.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones didn't. So you waited until year 2 to assess how you feel about Daniel Jones, correct?
No, this year will be his test.
Exactly.
Yes.
Which for Sam Darnold's case, it was almost year 1 because he was the starter planned. He got hurt for 16 games.
And listen, in true Jet fashion, it's really going to be year 3 for him because of Mono.
Because of what? Because of my. That's right. Okay, so I agree. I agree. The Bengals have to take Joe Burrow.
Do the Bengals pull some stuff and not draft Joe Burrow?
The only reason why I think that could happen is if they value another quarterback. Now, that's either going to be Justin Herbert or Tua Tagovailoa. According to, and again, I did my own research.
Why isn't it Jake Fromm?
Because he's not that good. He's overrated.
I think Fromm might be this year's Patrick Mahomes.
We have players to watch later. Okay, I'm not saying that Jake Fromm can't not be a quarterback in the NFL, but he's not a first-round draft pick in the top 10. He's not.
His junior year, he was.
Maybe not the top 10. He might have been a top 20, 25 pick.
He was projected above where he is now.
Yeah, 100%. But that has a lot to do with it.
So what happened?
He didn't play as well.
Utah State's quarterback
Jordan Love is legit.
played better than him.
Jordan Love is legit. But it's not about them right now. It's about Herbert,
All right.
Tua Tagovailoa, and Joe Burrow. Those are going to be the top 3 guys off the board.
Is Tua gonna make it?
So I have a theory on this one, and someone wrote in on the Instagram and said the same thing, and you'll hear that in a minute. My theory is that Tua is going to slide like Aaron Rodgers did in his draft year and get drafted later on in the first round. And I think, I think Jordan Love becomes somebody that rises on draft boards.
How is it going to be possible that the Patriots end up with one of these top 5 quarterbacks?
Well, I'll tell you. Okay, so I looked this up before. Here's why I think it's going to happen, okay? Because, so I have their draft picks right here. So we talked about this, right? The Patriots have a lot of picks, but they have 6 total picks in the 6th and 7th round. They have 1 pick in the 1st, that's the 23rd, and they have 3 in the 3rd. I think they're going to have to take a 3rd or 2 in that first round pick and try and get into the high teens and maybe get a guy like a Jordan Love. Or if they do value Tua and Tua does slide, as I predict, okay, even though it's funny, I predict that, but at the same time, if you ask me to predict the top 6 picks I have in there,
Is Tua going to slide below Jalen Hurts?
I don't think so, which would be a great storyline, though. But I don't think so. Because Tua does have, it's not like when you talk about Tua Tagovailoa, you're talking about injury. That's it. You're not talking about can't throw the football with accuracy.
No, you're talking about him being a lefty.
That's your theory. That's not a proven football theory.
Name a lefty quarterback. That's awesome.
Michael Vick.
Other than Michael Vick.
There's another guy, I think, for like the Oilers.
Warren Moon wasn't lefty.
I don't know. Maybe someone else. Yeah, I know. There's not a history of left-handed quarterbacks being great.
Anyways.
But I think Tua has the ability to be great if he's healthy.
So, is there any place that the Cincinnati Bengals don't take Joe Burrow?
I think the only place is if they're blown away with an offer, and this is where I see that offer. If a team like the Dolphins was to give the 18th and the 5th first-round pick. So now Cincinnati goes from having the first pick to having 2 picks in the first round, one being the 5, with which they'll probably still get their crack at Herbert or Tua if they think that both of them or one of them is good enough. And then they have the 18th pick in the draft, where now they can go start to rebolster their offensive line, their defensive line, and the lack of talent that their organization currently has. That, to me, and I wrote this down, okay? These are the teams in the 2020 NFL draft that have multiple first-round picks, okay? The Las Vegas Raiders, yes, you heard that correctly. They are now officially the Las Vegas Raiders. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the Minnesota Vikings, the San Francisco 49ers, and obviously we talked about the Miami Dolphins, but that's 3. The interesting part about all of that is the 49ers don't need a quarterback, right? The Vikings don't need a quarterback, right? The Jaguars, How much do you trust Gardner Minshew?
I don't know. You've got to backfill Gardner.
Exactly, right? Okay, and Leonard Fournette's unhappy.
If you don't backfill Gardner, I think you're making a bad organizational decision.
So here, another one. Leonard Fournette they're apparently trying to trade Leonard Fournette.
Why?
I know. So there's some things going on in Jacksonville right now that really might play into this draft, especially with them having 2 draft picks.
Maybe Tom Coughlin wasn't the problem.
But here's the other one. The Raiders. Do you trust Derek Carr? Does John Gruden want Derek Carr leading his team into the future? Because if the Raiders have 2 picks, okay, and according to sportingnews.com, who's giving me all my picks, they have the 6th pick in the draft, okay? Excuse me, that's a lie. That's the Chargers. They have the 12th pick and the 19th pick in the draft. Would you, as Cincinnati, maybe not Cincinnati, maybe Detroit, who you have to decide on Matthew Stafford. Is Matthew Stafford your quarterback leading you into the future? I think for the next 3 to 5 years, yes. Do I think Detroit needs to go after a quarterback this year? No. So if I'm the Raiders, I package both of those picks for the Detroit Lions' 3rd pick, because you're going to assume the Washington Redskins are probably going to get Chase Young, the unbelievable defensive end from Ohio State, right? Guy with 0 weaknesses, probably does nothing wrong. If you assume that, and you're the Raiders, you couple the 12 and the 19, you trade it to Detroit, and you go get yourself a quarterback in the future. And to your original point before, he doesn't need to start this year. If you think Derek Carr can do another year, or what you talked about earlier, 6-7 games of Derek Carr not being great, Las Vegas, new town, new stadium, excite the franchise, boom.
I just don't know if I like to trade with Detroit, because Detroit needs to win right now.
Well, from Matt Patricia's standpoint, he needs to do something big, but that quarterback's not going to play next year anyways.
I get it, but like,
And Stafford's good enough.
Why waste a pick if you've got one of these wide receivers that are available?
But you're not going to waste the pick. You can still go get this wide receiver draft is that draft depth. Ooh, that's a tough one. Draft depth is deep, right? So if you go and you give the 3 for the 12 and the 19, you can get a wide receiver at 12. Right, and I got one on my players to watch. You don't worry; it's probably gonna be a top 15 pick.
Okay, you can do that.
And then at 19, you can still get one of these good offensive linemen or defensive ends. This is a deep draft that's still available. Now you've built more for your franchise.
And the Lions only have 1 pick in the 1st round right now.
The Lions only have 1 pick in the 1st round. That would be that 3rd pick that we are dissecting right now. And think about this. They have the 35th pick overall in the draft. So now you're talking about 3 picks within a 20-pick spot. You got 12, you got 19, you got 35. And you have 2 picks in the 2nd round.
I mean, it makes sense.
Right. So that, to me, is a draft move-up possibility. I don't believe there's a scenario at the end of the day where Joe Burrow doesn't get drafted by the Bengals. Let's move on, okay?
Okay.
We talked about the Redskins. I don't know if we need to dissect that much. I'll say one thing about the Redskins. I think you'll back me up on this. If you drafted Dwayne Haskins last year and are already going to give up on him, much like the Cardinals did with Josh Rosen, somebody should be fired.
Well, if you draft someone behind Dwayne Haskins, it has to be a completely different type of
A
quarterback.
completely different quarterback. Like a Jalen Hurts where you're running. I'm not saying he's the 2nd overall pick, but you get what I'm saying.
How about like a Kirk Cousins was to
I thought you were
RG3?
So what do you think? Like I'm thinking like Jake Fromm.
I'm just saying, like they've done this before.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins.
And they did it in the
4th
same
round.
draft.
Yeah, same draft. First pick for them was RG3 that year
Turned out to be a smart move.
because Kirk Cousins ended up being the guy.
Well, because Joe Gibbs ran RG3 into the ground.
So I think Joe Burrow's
Was that
goes
Joe Gibbs
1.
or was that Shanahan?
Shanahan. Joe Burrow's 1, Chase Young 2 to Washington. Okay. If there are no trades,
Yeah.
okay, then I see the Detroit Lions. Oh, I'm gonna botch his name so bad, so I'm gonna make sure I get the phonetic spelling out. He's the cornerback for Ohio State, Jeff Okudah. Okay, I watched this dude's tape today. Filthy. But the reason why I say that is because I'm telling you, I don't think that everything I'm reading, but just my own feeling, Patricia's a defensive guy. So I think he needs to bolster the defense first, knowing that you still have 3 to 5 more years of Matthew Stafford. You have no cover corners. You have no real good linebackers. If you throw a tight end against the Detroit Lions defense, you can blow them apart. So I think they're going to be very defensive focused. Then I have Isaiah Simmons going to the New York Giants. There has been rumors, before we keep going, I want to ask you this. There have been
Remember the
rumors
kid from Iowa.
that Gettleman trades as well.
Yeah, I mean,
He doesn't do a lot of that.
no, if he gets 2 picks, though, I mean, it's worth it, I guess. But he can't really. I really think he's got to make a splash on the offensive line. So if he thinks Simmons or what's the kid from Iowa?
Tristan
Wirfs.
Wirfs.
Yeah, if it's the Wirfs kid or if it's the Clemens kid, the Clemson kid, then he's got to take him.
Here's my feeling on why I think you should go defense. And part of the Simmons conversation is what is he? He's played safety. He's played linebacker. He is really good with coverage on tight ends, which I think is something that the Giants have lacked a lot in the last few years. So the conversation, like, what type of player is he? And from what I've read, there's a little bit of concerns with his aggressiveness, attacking and tackling, which I think that listening to our father scream at a Giants game is the last thing I want to hear on a TV.
He's a linebacker. He's got problems being aggressive.
But part of, I think, what the Giants need is, and you've made this point a million times, when's the last time the Giants have had like a linebacking core where you're like, dude, these guys are good? When's the last time?
Antonio Pierce.
Which was what? The 2011 Super Bowl?
Yeah.
So that's almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So that is why I believe they have to go.
And the last time they had an offensive line,
But,
too.
but their offensive line wasn't terrible last year. Was
No,
it the worst in the league?
No, but their front four on defense was 7th in the league. So what they've done there is pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I know you're talking linebacker.
Right.
But
Which they don't have any coverage.
like, you're year 3 of Gettleman.
Right.
So you sign a 4-year deal.
Right.
And I personally believe Gettleman has made the right moves. He went out and got his all-star running back. Then he got his franchise quarterback. Right? You've got to win football games this year, and you're not winning football games if this guy
Isn't protected.
If he's not protected.
I agree. So let me ask you this before you keep going, because I think you're going to answer this question.
Okay.
So I want to ask this first. So then, do you think that the mindset going into it for the New York Football Giants is no matter what, offensive lineman, don't trade anything, take the 4th pick, get an offensive lineman, deal with the rest of the draft?
Unless I get 2 picks in the first round,
So would you take the Oakland Raiders trade back?
I would consider it.
Yeah.
Only for 2 picks.
The question becomes how
Because I'm still number 4 in round 2, so now I get 3 in the top 35.
Right.
Which is
I think that's more important.
well, only because I could get 2 offensive linemen and then I can get a linebacker.
True. That's good. True. And I just got to write in while we're on it, thoughts to Jordan Love to the Pats, which I believe is going to happen. I truly do believe that. Jordan Love, Utah State quarterback.
He's too high on the draft board to go to the Patriots. He's too well known.
It's got to be someone
He's
random.
not too, it's too, he's
We'll
too
dive deeper into that in a second. We are about a minute or so away from our paying the bills break here on the Rome Show. I just want to finish the Giants conversation before we take that break. I think when you talk about Dave Gettleman and you talk about the trade back and what the Giants need, I think you make a great point about having to win this year with the pieces that you have. Now, I'm going to throw this at you because we talked about this before. This is a deep wide receiver draft, okay? The Giants kind of lack skill position players besides Saquon Barkley and Evan Ingram 72% of the time.
Darius Slayton.
I like Darius Slayton, right? I like the other guy too, the slot guy. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, right? I like them all. I think they're good, but they don't have that outside guy that was Odell to Saquon to Eli Manning.
They have Darius Slayton.
Do you think he's good enough?
Yes.
Or, okay, fair. But like my thought process is, do you trade back, get an offensive lineman and another skill position player, get a linebacker and a wide receiver threat?
I don't know, man. I can't. I can't go another year and watch us lose the line of scrimmage.
Fair.
I just can't. Like you literally, you haven't been able.
Sterling Shepard.
You haven't been able to push the line in like 6 years, 7 years. Like you have a quarterback who's got a good arm. You've got a running back who can run. Like, dude, just go protect them, please.
Yeah, I feel you.
Like you could win the Super Bowl on the back of Saquon Barkley if you had protection.
I agree. All right, here's the deal. We're going to pay some bills here on the Rome Show, okay? And we're going to come back on the other side of our commercial break, and we are going to continue to dissect this first round of the NFL draft. Plus, We're going to give you our players to watch. I have 3, a running back, a tight end, and a wide receiver. Rocky has some for you as well. We're going to talk about who the Dolphins pick, who the Chargers pick, some other things we think we're going to see in the NFL draft. Plus, we'll answer the fan questions from the Instagram at Coach Romo24, and a new segment coming your way, ladies and gentlemen. It's called Rocks Reviews, dropping at 7:45, 7:50, rough estimate on the time start of that new segment of the Rome Show. I am Andrew Romanella. That's Rocky Romanella. This is the Rome Show. We'll take you all the way up until the 8 o'clock hour. We'll be right back after we pay these bills.
Are you looking to become a better leader, whether that's in business, in sports, or in life, and you haven't found a book yet to help you get to that game-changing aha moment? Well, we have the book for you. Tighten the Lug Nuts, the principles of balanced leadership. Tighten the Lug Nuts will help you get to that game-changing leadership moment. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and iBooks, or at 360managementservices.com. That's the number 360managementservices.com. Pick up your copy today and start changing your leadership styles.
All right. Welcome back into the Rome Show, April 20th. April 2020. Wow, crazy stuff here. Andrew Romanella, Rocky Romanella, taking you all the way up until the 8 o'clock hour. Remember, you can get on the Rome Show. Call in. The live lines are open. Our producer, Ruben, is at Hamilton Radio, 609-807-2492, and you can get in on the show. Also on the Facebook, we have a lot of people commenting in. Apparently, the Giants fans are all excited on Facebook, and we appreciate that. Rocky is also chiming in with his G-Man comments as
Dude,
well.
listen, it's G-Man back to Rob, man. That's our tailgate. It's our tailgate crew coming in.
The G-Men are excited. All right, here we go. Let's continue with the first round of the NFL draft.
Let's keep it going.
All right, so right now we agree Joe Burrows goes to Cincy, Chase Young goes to Washington. Unless something crazy happens. Why do I keep doing this? Hold, please. Unless something crazy happens, Detroit picks 3. The Giants, we have some discrepancy. I think they go defense. You think they go offense. Either way, we both believe they probably aren't going to trade out of the 4 spot because there's such big need that they have there. 5th pick, Miami Dolphins. I know what I expect. I know what I want, and I know what I'm going to say into this microphone. I'll let you go first.
I think it should be Jalen Hurts or Jake Fromm.
Oh, my God.
Is that okay? You don't want those guys?
Why?
You don't want Tua?
You say these things, and you have to explain them so that the people understand why you make these comments.
Quite frankly, I don't know anything about the kid from Utah State, Love.
Okay.
I apologize to all of you college football fanatics out there. I watch more college football this year than I ever have. I like Herbert from Oregon, actually.
Okay. Yes.
Right? I do. I like Jake Fromm for whatever reason. I think he's an NFL-type quarterback.
But I think you have to get over the idea that he's a top 5 pick.
All right, he's not a top 5 pick. So,
you think the Dolphins should choose not a quarterback with the 5th pick, go get maybe an offensive lineman. They need defensive line help as well.
I just don't.
And then they have the 18th pick. Maybe they take Jake Fromm.
Yeah, that sounds nice to me, actually. Honestly, if I'm sitting at the Dolphins, I need to know what Jameis Winston's doing. I need to know what Cam Newton's doing, and who's the other guy that's available right now. Oh no, I need to know
those 2.
I need to know what those 2 are doing first and foremost, because if I can build out and hold out for, what's his they do with the hair from Clemson,
Trevor Lawrence.
If I can hold
dude
out
with the hair.
I mean, if my I'm not the Bengals.
Yeah, right.
I'm not the Bengals.
The Dolphins fought hard all year last year. They were 5-11, and people thought they were going to be 0-16.
Great defense.
They have the top 2 cornerbacks in the league.
They have a great defense. Are they willing? The way I look at sports, I'm the type who would be willing. If I can't get Joe Burrow, I would be willing to go get a specialty player on offense before I pick the quarterback.
Because you only believe in Joe Burrow that much comparative.
No, because I think that I feel like every year you watch franchises force a quarterback on themselves because they need a quarterback. They need a quarterback. But there's no guarantee you're going to get the guy that's the best out there.
Well, and I think the big thing for the Dolphins is, let's say, so in my opinion, I think they take Justin Herbert here.
Okay.
I think the original plan all along was Tua Tagovailoa. No one expected Joe Burrows to have the year he had. I think everyone can agree with that. Okay. I think it's Justin Herbert. I think it's trending that way. If it's not Herbert, okay, and you're the Miami Dolphins, and you go into this draft and you say, with the 5th pick, we want Justin Herbert. If it's not there and you don't believe enough in Tua or anybody else, what you have to remember is, no, I get it. You could go win more this year. You could have a higher draft pick next year, and you might not have a chance to get this high of a quarterback. But you signed Fitzpatrick for 2 years. So he has one more year on his deal. So you don't need to make a draft decision if you don't believe one of these guys.
Who's your running back?
Right now, it's kind of a running back by committee. They traded Kenyon Drake.
What if DeAndre Swift is on the board?
I mean, yeah, I'm not taking a running back at 5 when we need a quarterback if Herbert's available.
Well, if he's your guy, okay. If he's your guy.
I don't. Besides the Saquon Barkley, I would not take a running back ever in the top 10.
What if CeeDee Lamb's available?
I would like CeeDee Lamb.
Dude, he's good.
He's fast. He flies.
He's got a sick name.
But you got to. But again, who's throwing him the court? Who's throwing him the football? Great. We have Ryan Patrick for 1 more year. But my point though being also is you have to have that plan for moving forward. It's not Josh Rosen, even though he's still on your roster. And next year, it's probably just Trevor Lawrence right now leading the charge. So I would say you get Herbert 5, and then you have so many other draft picks you can do something. You could move up again. You could give 18 and 23 to somebody. You can move up again after you get your quarterback.
No, you probably got to get if Herbert's your guy, you got to get him.
And he's my guy. And listen, if they draft Tua Tagovailoa, I'm not going to be mad about it. But I don't want him comparative to Herbert. Out of the 3 of them, of course I'd love Burrows, but I want Herbert.
There's too much sports superstition with Tua.
I know, and but I like athletic. Like I really like that Herbert's athletic. He can throw the football. He does take care of the ball pretty well. I profile him.
I like that he played in the Pac-12.
Agreed, and I like, and other people maybe might not like that. I think he's the better version of Marcus Mariota.
If it was USC, I wouldn't like it.
Yeah, but you like
because
everyone else
because he's from Oregon, or like the kid from Washington.
Well, and I think the Dolphins take Herbert, and then immediately right there, the Chargers take Tua Tagovailoa. Hawaii, he's in California. That makes so much sense. Like that's like a perfect fit. When you're talking about like hometown, I mean that's as close as it's gonna get. So I think there you look at those 3 guys off the board. 1 Burrow, 5 Herbert to the Dolphins, and 6 Tagovailoa to the Chargers. And then I think
I could see it going Tua than Herbert.
I hope not. I think that
it's Miami Dolphins to pick a box.
But I wouldn't be. I mean, it's not though. I mean, this is the franchise.
I'm just giving you a hard time now.
I think then the Pats get Jordan Love. I think Jake Fromm gets drafted in the 2nd round, and I think Jalen Hurts. And I've heard this comparison a lot. Becomes a newer version of Peyton Hillis.
Do you think Jalen Hurts plays quarterback in the NFL?
I think he becomes Peyton Hillis. So he does a little quarterback. He does some special teams. He's a running back. He's a wide receiver.
Why Peyton Hillis?
Because that's what the only person that does that is Peyton Hillis.
Why not Cordell Stewart?
Because Cordell Stewart was a quarterback. I don't think he's going to be a quarterback.
They might give him a chance.
I don't think so.
They won't even give him a chance?
No, I mean, I think he'll get a chance, but I think like a Peyton Hillis, right? There's talent there to play quarterback, but there's so many other things he can do. Jalen Hurts, I think, is going to get drafted by a team that already has an established quarterback and be used as a package weapon, right? Now he's a package weapon that lines up at running back, lines up at wide receiver, probably takes snap as a quarterback, right? I do think he'll be labeled as a quarterback, but be used in other packages.
Interesting.
Like a Hurts package. Like a Jalen Hurts package.
Like the Wildcat.
Yeah, but like Peyton Hillis. That's like moving on. Okay, so we're going to go to our players to watch here before we get into what the fans wrote in on the Instagram.
Shea Patterson of the Pats.
All right, so you go first.
No, I'm just kidding.
You go first.
All right, cool. So I got one to look for. By the way, Shea Patterson of the Pats is just a play on Tom Brady playing for Michigan. I hope you got that.
Go on.
Player to watch, number 1, Chase Vinatieri. kicker, South Dakota State, uncle, also known as Adam Vinatieri. I can't. I thought that was so much fun. The guy's got Super Bowls in his blood.
I got it.
He might be the guy.
Yeah.
The other one I got here is Sadiq Charles. He's the offensive tackle from LSU. He protected Joe Burrow.
Okay.
But he was a soccer goalie as a kid growing up, so that's why I think he's gonna have a great career.
So that's your player to watch.
Those are my two players to watch.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, I wanted to bring a fun element to players to watch because, by the way, after the first 10 rounds, like you just get tired of celebrities introducing dudes, so like you need to see.
Yeah. So we have AJ Beck writing in on the show. AJ Beck said Jake Fromm to the patch. Okay. Kenny Pickett sleeper next year. And what you watching? That's funny.
That's coming. Don't worry.
What you watching? That's really funny. Reference back to one of our old podcasts. So yeah, I mean, people are on board with Jake Fromm to the Pats. And I think you're going to see that in the fan write-ins.
Fromm or Love.
My players to watch. All right, I got 3 of them for you. Okay, here's the deal. We're going to go with our wide receiver first. That's Michael Pittman Jr. Rocky's not going to like this guy. He's from USC. Okay, but he had 101 receptions last year, 11 touchdowns.
Oh, no, he's a wide receiver?
Yeah.
Oh, I love him.
He was like 5th in the nation in receptions. He ran a 4.5 40 at the combine. And he's 6'4", 223 with that speed.
Dude, position players crush it from USC in the NFL. Just the quarterbacks.
The quarterbacks that struggle. So I got Pittman Jr. as a player to watch. I think he's going to be a mid-round first round draft pick. I'll tell you what. If a team like Pittsburgh ends up with a dude like this, and he's able to go on the opposite side of Juju Smith-Schuster with a Big Ben throwing him the football and a James Conner running, that's a dangerous offense there.
Wow.
About an 18, I forget what their pick is, like 18 or something like that. Okay, tight end. And it's kind of off your theory. Thaddeus Moss out of LSU. Why does that name sound familiar? 1, because they won the national championship, but 2, because Thaddeus Moss is the son of Randy Moss, right? So Thaddeus Moss is probably going to be a 3rd or 4th round draft pick. Okay, why is he a player to watch? He's a big body.
I didn't realize he was a tight end.
Tight end.
He makes catches like he's not.
Right, big body, can catch the football, right? Not bad speed, doesn't get good separation. When you watch the tape, he always has to make contested catches, which is good and bad. Bad in the NFL because guys are faster, good because you can make contested catches. But I believe he's a player to watch because Randy Moss. Like, dude, if he gets drafted, there's no way Randy Moss doesn't not make sure that his son is nasty, right?
He already is.
Exactly. Well, he's good.
He caught a touchdown on a national championship game.
Yes, 3rd to 5th, 4th round talent wouldn't be considered nasty by NFL standards, but I think he turns into a great player.
That's why I hate the NFL, dude. Like, you should be celebrated in the 4th round because you're probably the man.
Well, you should be celebrated in any round because you got drafted. All right, 3rd and final player to watch. Okay, I think this is my best one. All right, this is who I want the Dolphins to pick. Okay, Jonathan Taylor. All right.
I heard he's going to the Giants.
Jonathan Taylor is a running back from Wisconsin. Now, this man does not get enough due for what he did in his college career.
The new
right?
Ron Dane.
So I'm going to throw a little Romalytics at you right here. Did you know? Okay, here's your Romalytics for your April 20th show, 7:44 here on a Monday. Jonathan Taylor is the NCAA leader in touchdowns from scrimmage with 26. Touchdowns overall, and points scored in the 2019 season. Overall, okay, and that was 156 points he scored alone in the 2019 season, he had 26 touchdowns. He's also the NCAA's leader in rushing yards in a career, and this man is the 2-time I want to say this correctly, I think it's Deke Walker winner for the best running back in the NCAA.
Why is he only listed on the depth chart as number 3?
At
all running backs.
I know, because they don't believe his size and pure speed or quickness translate to the NFL level.
That's a Mel Kiper.
He's a little bit of a lower end catching running back out of the backfield, which is a huge aspect of the NFL's teams. But I love him. And I think he's going to be great. You are not the best running back in NCAA history ever, and you're not going to be good in the NFL.
I'm sorry. No, I believe. Well, I mean,
it's possible,
yeah.
but I think he's going to be good enough. I want the Dolphins to end up taking him with their 23rd pick.
I like it.
That's
Good
what I
pick.
want. It's because they don't have a running back or a guy that they can rely on and then have that backup guy that can be good enough for their ball club. You know what I'm saying? Those are my 3 players to watch.
I think the
and your
hardest-
Romalytics.
I think the hardest part about like drafts is that like not everyone in each individual position like is gonna go one in the first round.
Right.
You know, like it's tough to like kind of manage through like the 32 picks and like this spotty and then who's gonna still be
Well,
there.
and the hard part also is unless you do like a deep dive, not everyone knows the offensive lineman. Not everyone knows the defensive lineman, the linebackers,
Not
the
fans.
cornerbacks. You're going to know the running backs and the quarterbacks. Yeah, and some of the wide receivers, the skill position players. Those names are always going to be out there. But to your point, like I'm looking at 5 running backs. I'm like, all these dudes are great. I know all of them. How is this guy going to be a 3rd-round pick? Well, that's because there's 20 offensive linemen that you're after, cornerbacks.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
yeah.
the tight ends, other positions get drafted. Like we just talked about 3 quarterbacks in the first 6 picks. I mean, you think about that. Like there's 15 quarterbacks in this draft. 3 of them are going to go in the first 6, but yet there still might be quarterbacks left overall at the end of the draft. It's just kind of crazy. And I'm curious, before we go into Rock's reviews here in a minute, the last thing I got on the NFL draft this year is like, it's virtual.
Love it.
Are we going to have a scenario where it's like, I really wanted to call and make a trade, but I kept calling this GM's phone and his phone line was busy. Or, man, I was about to, do X and my internet cut out and then, like, the draft is delayed. Like, this is going to be something you've never seen before. And do yourself a favor. Go to Twitter, go to go to whatever social media site you want to, and check out the NFL GMs have been putting out pictures of what their, what they call war room, their home war room looks like. It's pretty sick. Like, go check it out. The 49ers, what is that? Why am I drawing a blank on his name?
He wears a sick flat brim
Dude.
every game.
Awesome setup. He's got like 5 TVs. So go check it out. It's pretty cool, but it's different, and I'm curious to see if there are any issues with it because there has to be. It's technology.
Kyle Shanahan?
No, that's their head coach. John Lynch, GM of the 49ers.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
John Lynch. Go check it out. So I'm curious about that. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, everyone's got a cell phone, yeah, but if I'm on the phone with the Seahawks GM,
Yeah, it's probably mandatory NFL rules that you got to be hardwired into your internet, like no wireless allowed.
I don't know. Can you do that?
Dude, I'm telling you, man, you're on your home network and like the dog runs into the
Yeah, you
wireless
don't wanna
cord.
do
Like,
that.
now you got to be hardwired.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying though. Like, and the NFL did say they would pause the draft and anything like that happened. But think about that. Imagine it's like with the first pick in the 2020 NFL draft, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Dude, but here's what I'm saying, like.
And it's just the commissioner, like,
Where's
like
the
when your
commissioner?
Zoom conference goes frozen.
Yeah, it's not. There's going to be a lot of conference call jokes on next Thursday.
So funny. What were you gonna say?
I don't remember now.
All right, so here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. That is our 2020 NFL draft breakdown. The draft happens Thursday, Friday, and Saturday this weekend. All right, when we come back next Monday, we'll dissect what happened with the NFL draft. We'll see how we feel about the picks. We'll see how right or wrong we were. Even though I did, I'm going to say this again, predict Tua to be drafted 6th overall, I could see a day where he falls like Aaron Rodgers did and ends up getting drafted late. And hold up for Jordan Love. This is what the fans wrote in, okay? Here's what we got. I asked this question. With the first pick in the 2020 NFL draft, the Who selects Cincinnati Bengals select Joe Burrow. Sean O'Neal, wide receiver out of Seton Hall. The Bengals select Joe Burrow out of LSU. The Bengals select Joe Burrow out of LSU. The Bengals select Chase Young out of Ohio State. One that I don't see happening.
I don't see it happening either. Unless they want to be the Texans.
I just think that's a bold prediction. Okay, next question for the fans. Will the Patriots draft a QB? If so, who? Now, we've had a lot of debate on this. Rocky's a Frommer guy.
Shea Patterson.
Or Rocky's a Frommer guy, all right? I'm a Jordan Love guy. That's who I believe they get. Here's what the fans think. Jacob Eason or Anthony Gordon after the 3rd round. Now, let me preface this by saying, I know a little bit about Eason. I don't know anything about Gordon. That is from a college football coach himself and Mr. Kyle Skierski. So he knows the insider information.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, Skierski does.
Hopefully James Morgan, hard worker, pro-style offense, late rounder, Patriots written all over it. Don't know who that is. Jake Fromm. Jacob Eason, another Jacob Eason. Unpopular.
You're looking at people who run traditional offenses, not so much.
Yes. Unpopular opinion, Jake Fromm in the second round. Jordan Love. Fromm in the third round. If Tua, here it is. I told you this earlier. If Tua has an Aaron Rodgers-like draft night and falls, I believe the Patriots will take him 23rd overall. Could you imagine?
So it would be completely Bill Belichick for him to show up and completely have a style of offense that we have never seen him run before.
Absolutely.
It'd be fully RPO, fully engaged in the future of football, no home style quarterback. Like, I'm in it. Like,
Absolutely.
It would be that's actually more of his script
Yes.
than staying.
Which
staying
is why
in
I
it.
don't think he drafts Jake Fromm. A, and B, why I think Cam Newton ends up on the New England Patriots.
I think Cam plays for the Patriots next year too.
Okay.
I mean, it just makes sense.
Well, then how about the other guy that's available, Jameis Winston? Where do you think he lands? People say this. Nowhere.
I mean, Jameis.
Oh, that makes me laugh. Jalen Hurts, third rounder to the Steelers.
I can see Jameis in Oakland or in Las Vegas.
Okay. Maybe. Okay, good answer out of that guy. Big backup to Big Ben, Jameis Winston. I like that thought process. This year, Big Ben.
I don't think
hurt.
Jameis and Mike Tomlin are copacetic.
Yes, but not week one. Will get signed when an injury occurs. So that prediction is that the season starts and he's not signed
That
yet.
fits the maybe prediction.
It fits the maybe prediction. No, another person doesn't think he's getting signed.
Well,
I don't see that.
it might be till training camp.
Lions, if they don't get a good QB in the draft, that's a good backup to Matthew Stafford, who's an
Yeah, it would
injury-prone
make
guy.
more sense because he's playing on turf. He's not going to be cold
And
for the most part.
injury-prone guy.
Yeah.
No, he sucks.
I mean, he doesn't suck. He just has bad eyes.
I think he got them fixed. So clearly the people don't think that a lot of this positive stuff's going on for Jameis Winston, which Cam Newton and Jameis Winston, and even an Andy Dalton, because he's still got a year left and the Bengals might try and trade him, are going to impact this draft tenfold.
I think Cam and Jameis will a little bit more, but they're free agents, so not as much as you would think. And I just don't think Andy Dalton is worth that much steam. So I don't know if they're going to impact it that much. Their impact is going to come based on how the first
draft falls.
Yeah.
All right, that's your 2020 NFL draft rundown from the Rome Show.
Sweet.
We'll dissect next week how wrong we were. Now, to finish the show today with our last 6 or 7 minutes, it's our brand new segment to the Rome Show. We call this Rock's Reviews, okay?
I'm Rock.
That's Rock, and here's how this is going to work, okay? We're going to get some intro music and some other stuff for this as we move forward with the Rock's Reviews, okay? Rocky's going to give us 1, 2, or 3. The minimum's 1, the maximum is 3. Things that he's watching, things that he's reading, things that your eyes can get themselves on. AJ Beck made the reference, what you watching? It's kind of derived from a segment we had on our podcast together, the Home Square Podcast. Over to the host of Rock's Reviews, Mr. Rocky Romanella.
Thanks for having me. Really excited about the review tonight. So, obviously, we're reviewing The Last Dance because it is the most significant sports event that's happened in our life in the last 6 weeks. So, I obviously watched it. I was really excited about it. I have 3 main takeaways.
All right, give it to us.
Number
Rock's Reviews.
1, I think Michael Jordan is hammered during this interview. So he has a glass of scotch next to him the whole time, and I feel like he's a little tuned up, and the scotch changed sizes a couple times.
Yes.
I also felt that there was a lot of irony in the story he told when he was a rookie, as he was very straight edge.
Yes.
Right, and I know everyone's dying to hear how much of an a-hole and how much of a gambling addict he is throughout this whole process. And it's funny that in the first episode,
You did.
I'm super straight edge. I was the goody two-shoes. No one wanted to hang out with me because I just wanted to work hard, which I believe is true. I'm curious to see how and when it rotated
Absolutely.
because it seemed as though even in his second year he was playing golf right before game
Yeah.
2 of the first playoff game. So I was like,
Danny Ainge.
I'm so curious to know his timeline. And I just read by Tim Glover, the Relentless, his trainer, like his individual trainer, like the guy that trained MJ. So like I heard a lot of MJ take on how aggressive he was as a competitor. So I'm really into it.
All right.
But I do think he was hammered.
Okay.
He's hammered during the interview, right? Number 2, I had no idea Scottie Pippen's contract sucked that much.
Agreed. 100%.
And I personally feel like that is my ultimate disappointment in professional sports.
What?
Where
Not having watched the Lakers, the Michael Jordan time.
having a person who is so thankful for the opportunity, who is so good, and who is the epitome of a team player, and to just really get laughed at from a contract standpoint when that's never going to be his forte, right? We should be celebrating Scottie Pippen's contract and laughing and because the dudes now are essentially, ruining the quote unquote, the wholesomeness of sports.
Sure.
But obviously that'll never happen.
I agree. He was insanely underpaid.
And you know what? If Drew Rosenhaus was around, he would not have let that happen to Scottie.
Well, and I wrote this quote down from Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner of the Bulls at the time. He said, "Once you sign a deal, it's done. Don't come back and negotiate it with me." I mean, that's kind of nuts when you think about Scottie Pippen making $2 million a year over 7 years.
Well, so listen,
the second best player in the league.
No doubt, and I don't disagree with the thought process, but you listen, at that time, dude, I'm going to make $18 million over 7 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and he said, "I got to take care of my family." So there were decisions I had to
It's
make.
not like he had an agent,
Right.
who's saying, "Oh no, sign a 4-year deal. We'll renegotiate. You're
Right.
going to win 3. So you're going to win 3 world championships."
I agree. That was literally the first thing I wrote down. Though.
Right.
He was 122nd played player in the NBA.
I know. I felt bad for Scottie, and I just think he's very wholesome. He's a good
Agreed.
dude.
Third point.
Third point was a
Rocks
good one.
reviews.
I know. I think I just lost it in my head.
You gotta write these things down.
No. I had it. I was all in on it. Oh, duh. I know why. I know why I lost it because it's controversial.
Okay.
So, why MJ is better than LeBron is, and I know that in this series we're gonna see a side of MJ that people are like, he's dark. He only cares about himself. He only does this. He only does that. But I gotta tell you, the MJ I saw is hands down a more team-oriented process
I
than
agree.
LeBron has ever been.
Like even the interviews from back in the day.
When they asked him about Scottie's contract,
absolutely.
and he's like, "Yo, that's Scottie's business."
Yeah.
For him to, you don't see LeBron saying, "Hey, if it wasn't for D Wade, I don't win a championship."
Agreed,
in Miami."
100%. Because he believes he was the reason the second one came for Miami.
Whereas you talk to the real people, they're like, "Dude, it was D Wade."
Well, and I agree. I think those are great takeaways. I thought it was fantastic. The thing that I took away from it was the Scottie Pippen thing, absolutely. But Steve Kerr looks exactly the
No, he's
same.
the same dude.
It's the same person.
He's
No,
an ageless wonder.
It's crazy. Jerry Krause sucked, kind of. Like, he was a really good GM from a putting the team together standpoint. Terrible personality manager. Kind of sucked. The last thing I took away, because I know we're running up against the clock here, was MJ was freaking good.
So good.
And, like, I'm going to say this honestly. I didn't watch basketball in the 90s enough. I didn't watch MJ while I was growing up in this time frame of them winning 6 championships in 7 years, two sets of three-peats. I didn't watch it enough. So to see some of the old school highlights, learn about him being drafted, learn about Sam Bowie, Hakeem Olajuwon, that he was the 3rd overall pick, learning that Scotty got drafted by the Supersonics and then traded to the Chicago Bulls, which I didn't know. Things of that nature I thought was cool because those are highlights I'd never I don't know if I've YouTubed them. I don't know if I've watched them, but like some of the stuff I was watching was really cool. So I'm down with it, and I'm ready for episode 3 and 4.
Love it.
You finish off your Rocks
So what
segment.
what we determined today was that if you were born pre-1990, Michael's your guy. And if you were born post-1990, you're like in the middle between Michael and LeBron, because pre-1990, your formative SportsCenter years came while Michael was dominating SportsCenter.
Yeah, 6 a.m. SportsCenter.
Right, like when you're like, because your formative SportsCenter years come when your age is like 6 to 15.
Yeah.
Like when you just don't, you're just like, I love sports.
Yeah.
I watch SportsCenter.
Yeah.
And those were the glory days of ESPN too.
Absolutely.
So like
It
that's
all coincides.
that's why, like, if you're an 80s kid, it's MJ for life.
Yeah, even 90s, I think.
Yes.
The winning was in the 90s.
I know, but the 90s baby, you're hitting your
Yeah, because
peak.
I was 6 when
You're
he
hitting
was
your
winning
peak.
his
He's
fourth
playing for the
title.
Wizards.
Yeah, you're right. Because
You
when I
know?
was 15, he was a Washington
That's
Wizard.
right. He's playing for the
That's right.
Wizards.
Finish it off.
So from a Rockies Rock standpoint, love the documentary aspect.
Rockies review.
Rockies review. I am a rock. Anyways, if you have something that you're watching and you want me to review it, send it over and I'll take a look.
I love it. That is Rocks Reviews, April 20th. I think we should keep this segment going.
I love it.
I really, really like it. So that's your Rocks Reviews, April 2020. This has been the Rome Show. This has been a blast. A little NFL draft preview, a little bit of Major League Baseball, some good happening there from Derek Jeter and the Los Angeles Angels, and of course some Rocks Reviews. We'll review some more movies and TV shows next week. Hey, we'll see you again next Monday, April 27th at 7 p.m. All right, HamiltonRadio.net, channel 2, Facebook.com/Andrew.Romanella, the Hamilton Radio app. We appreciate everybody that tuned in on the Facebook. We appreciate everybody that tuned in on the live radio link. We appreciate all the Romo Sapiens that make this show possible. On our way out, Rocky's going to show you some appropriate social distancing tactics, especially when he leaves my apartment and heads out into the real world. Andrew Romanella, a masked Rocky Romanella, HamiltonRadio.net, channel 2, The Rome Show. We are out.
To become a better leader, whether that's in business, in sports, or in life, and you haven't found a book yet to help you get to that game-changing aha moment, well, we have the book for you. Tighten the Lug Nuts, the principles of balanced leadership. Tighten the Lug Nuts will help you get to that game-changing leadership moment. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and iBooks, or at 360managementservices.com. That's the number 360managementservices.com. Pick up your copy today and start changing your leadership styles.
Do this look like work to you? Nah. Looking at the lights like it's all of this for me. Everyone tonight is here. All of this for me. Hands in the air, yeah. All of this for me. Bottles over here. All of this for me. All of this for me. All of this for me. Light flash, light flash. All of this for me. All of this for me. All of this for me. Bottles bringing bottles, yeah. All of this for me. You for real?
No, nice work.